Everything Olympiacos do, Panathinaikos can do better? What is going on in Greece? Is it like 2009, 2010 all over again? Just a few days after the Reds announced the signing of Evan Fournier, Dimitris Giannakopoulos announced on Instagram that Cedi Osman is taking his talents from the NBA back to Europe. What does he bring to Athens? Did EuroLeague champions even need him? Let's discuss that and more in today's video.
Doncic, give it go. Blocked by Osman from behind.
Okay, first things first, and that one is a conspiracy theory. The timelines of first Olympiacos adding the Frenchman, and a couple of days later, Pau signing Cedi Osman definitely seem a bit sketchy, right? Someone from one side might think the Turkish star was signed just to respond to what their neighbors did last week. But honestly, I don't buy that this was only a power move from the Pau owner. Already last season, the lack of a strong forward was visible, especially in the playoffs. Yes, Midas Grigonis, who has been a shooting guard his whole career, covered that spot greatly. But in the playoffs, that's the area Maccabi Tel Aviv exposed the most with a physical wing in Bonzi Colson. Ioannis Papapetru was asked to step up after being a non-factor throughout the year, and he delivered too. But if you ask me, or honestly anyone else, I think the majority of the answers would be the same one, the forward spot. On top, we all know winning titles is easier than defending them, so in my eyes, this move makes perfect sense. Cedi Osman covers the Panathinaikos needs perfectly, and I'll go over them just a second later. And Dimitris Giannakopoulos together with Ergin Ataman are preventing a problem before it grows large. At the same time, Olympiacos and Real Madrid are looking like serious chasers for the defending champions with enormous depth of their own. And in the 80 or 90 game long EuroLeague plus the domestic league season, I think every guy on the roster is going to have a role, especially considering the age and previous injury history of some Panathinaikos players. And even though a couple of guys might be less happy with their smaller roles, we are looking at a situation where Pau's second unit now with Osman joining is just as good as some other teams' starting lineups. Now this is just wild. I mean, from the bottom 3 team to EuroLeague title and this depth in 2 summers? Okay, it is time to look at what a 7-year NBA veteran is bringing to Athens and why he should have no trouble fitting in.
Osman, running hook with the right hand, count the basket of the foul.
The one thing to understand is that Osman in the NBA and Osman in the Turkish national team are 2 entirely different things. And that's because 2 completely different environments create this situation. In the NBA, he was mainly an off-the-ball player. Looking at his offensive play type percentages from Instat, in the last 3 years, 1/3 of his possessions ended with a spot-up shot. Basically, he was waiting for Donovan Mitchell, Victor Wembanyama, or someone other to create for him, and he was pretty good at converting. 1.06 points per attempt. Another huge aspect from Cedi was fast break basketball. Here he spent 24% of his time, which is an astonishing number for any player. It's an even more impressive number for someone who isn't an elite athlete. It's more of a testament to his energy and will to sprint most of the time. His activity half of the time would result in layups, the other in jumpers. And so far, so good. Ataman have always loved those who can run and shoot. In the NBA, Osman would spend only 12% of his playing time with the ball directly, creating for himself, meaning it wasn't an important part of his routine. And I think it's only about right. As I mentioned before, he is not athletically elite if we are talking about being a first or second or third option in the NBA, plus his ball handling could improve too. But all of that would suddenly change once he dressed up for the Turkish national team, which of course is coached by Ergin Ataman. He would make Osman's reps in pick and rolls and isolation skyrocket from a total of 12% in the NBA to 33% for Turkish national team. Forward's playstyle went through extreme makeovers every summer he suited up for Turkey. However, I don't think Ergin Ataman made that decision because he thought Osman is a great on-ball player. Because because when you combine the naked eye test with the actual numbers, he wasn't that efficient. Most of the time, it would end in an off-the-dribble three-pointer, and those did not fall as smoothly as spot-up threes in the NBA, obviously. Cedi has the ability to get to the rim sometimes, and when he does, he's extremely efficient there due to his size, but again, the lack of speed and a more solid dribble prevents him from getting there more often on FIBA courts. Okay, a quick break. If you are enjoying this video, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. There will be tons of EuroLeague content coming up your way, starting with the preseason tournament in Athens, so don't miss out. Going back to Cedi, what will make him shine in Pau jersey is his activity and off-ball movement. I'm curious to know what you think his percentages will be, but he can knock down spot-up shots and should finish the season, in my eyes, somewhere around 36 to 40%. On top, he is also a solid cutter. He has never been the type of guy to stand in the corner or on the wing and wait for the pass to arrive. Forward is great at reading the situation, and if his guy is helping on the big man rolling to the rim, he recognizes that in a second and cuts inside for an easy layup.
He just streaks over the top. Inside, Osman, count it! And the Spurs have the lead.
That's also a big reason of why his percentages around the rim are so high. He is constantly looking for easy buckets. And imagine the action with Nunz, Lucas, or Lorenzo Brown playing the pick and roll. A lot of teams in the EuroLeague decide to send two on the ball, then there is Lazor in the short roll situation. And because he's also a bully, he will attract heavy help defenses from the weak side, and that's where Osman, with his size and reading of the game or shooting, should benefit enormously. Pau fans, y'all are so lucky to have this guy. How excited are you for the season? Let me know in the comment section down below. Osman's energy can be seen everywhere. If we are talking about this aspect of his game, he's every coach's dream. Non-stop, all-around guy who will do it all despite being a huge profile in the EuroLeague after 7 years in the NBA. As I mentioned before, last year with the Spurs, 1/4 of his possessions offensively ended in a fast break. And I'm really not sure if there are many guys in the NBA who top this number, despite running like 2 or 3 times faster and jumping 2 or 3 times higher. Also, Osman was super efficient. Transition shots are the most valuable ones in basketball per se, but Cedi averaged 1.54 points per possession in those, even though half of the shots were jumpers. Obviously, it helps to be so wide open, and it's easier to get into a good rhythm for the shot.
Off to Osman, they need it. They tap it.
Okay, we have finally arrived for the main discussion, I guess, for a lot of you watching. After all, and I could be wrong here by the way, a lot of Greeks watching don't really care if Osman is the perfect fit for Pau. What's at stake here is simply if Osman is a better signing than Fournier. And there are two main things separating these guys. First is that Cedi is a much more versatile offensive player. Fournier can score, but he does that mostly on spot-ups and pull-ups from outside the paint. Osman, most likely due to being younger and still a better athlete, impacts the game way more in the transition and around the rim. The second thing in Osman's favor is his defense. I think sometimes this area of his game can be undervalued. And in Europe, where an average player is way less athletic than in the NBA, he should be even better. He is quick enough to hold people in front, plus he has the size and strength. And in my opinion, that's exactly what Panathinaikos lacked in the last year's playoffs. So I am really intrigued to see which Osman the Greens are getting, the NBA or the Turkish national team one. Of course, a lot depends on Ataman and how the coach imagines the use of Osman. If I had to guess, I think Osman will average around 13 points per game, with star guards of Panathinaikos making his life way easier than in the Turkish national team. But what do you guys think? How happy are you with Osman's signing, and is he the player Panathinaikos needed? As always, don't forget to drop a comment, leave a like, subscribe to our channel, and I'll see you in the next one.